From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, May 21st, 2015. Silver is trading at $17.16 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,208 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $237. Antiwar.com reports aiming to stave off a threatened attack by either U.S. or Saudi warships, the Iranian cargo ship full of humanitarian aid for Yemen will stop off at a UN center in Djibouti for inspection by UN personnel. U.S. and Saudi officials have repeatedly claimed that ships trying to deliver aid to Yemen, currently under Saudi siege, were actually carrying Iranian weapons, though repeated searches of ships have turned up nothing. Still, the Saudis have vigorously tried to keep aid ships from making deliveries in much of Yemen, claiming an invisible Iranian plot and even destroying the airport in Yemen's capital of Sana'a to prevent a cargo plane from landing there. Iran's foreign ministry insists the decision to go to Djibouti was not primarily the result of Pentagon threats, but because with the end of the humanitarian ceasefire, it was simply too dangerous to try to go directly to Yemen. The Saudis refused a UN call to extend that truce. For over 35 years, Robertson Roberts has been a trusted source for buying and selling your investment-grade precious metals. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and permanently removed the minimum purchase order for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Robertson Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on investing and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 850-478-5270 or online at rrbi.co. UPI reports a small aircraft pilot who allegedly violated restricted airspace in Washington, D.C. last month when he landed on Capitol Hill was indicted by a federal grand jury on Wednesday and could face a lengthy prison term. Douglas Hughes was arrested last month after allegedly landing a gyrocopter near the U.S. Capitol building. He was charged with multiple offenses, including 2 felony counts of flying without proper certification and violating aircraft registration requirements. On Wednesday, a grand jury indicted Hughes on those counts, plus misdemeanor charges of violating national defense airspace and operating a vehicle falsely labeled as a postal carrier. A Florida postal worker, Hughes flew from Gettysburg, Pennsylvania to the district on April 15th and landed his gyrocopter on the Capitol's west lawn. He said his intent was to protest big money spending in politics and stated an intention to deliver 535 letters, one to each voting member of Congress, on the day he landed at the Capitol. The case has brought attention to national security vulnerabilities because Hughes was allegedly able to fly into closely guarded airspace without much trouble. Prosecutors said he was able to pass through 3 no-fly zones even though he had given plenty of notice that he was on his way. He has been allowed to remain outside of jail but is prohibited from traveling to Washington or operating any type of aircraft pending the outcome of the charges. When her plush and comfy life suddenly and unexpectedly fell apart, Brooke and her dog Cloud set out to defy the odds. If this is a man's world, as they say, living on the streets is no place for a young woman. One day she awoke in the redwood forest and realized she had become a hobo, and would ultimately come to know exactly what it means to survive. How to Be a Hobo by Brooke Willett is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports U.S. authorities announced charges on Wednesday against a former Drug Enforcement Administration supervisor and a technology specialist at the agency for failing to disclose their ownership stake in a New Jersey strip club. David Polos and Glenn Glover, the DEA employees, made false statements to the government by not disclosing that they were part owners of the Twin Plus Go-Go Lounge in South Hackensack, New Jersey. The club features scantily clad and sometimes topless women, many of whom were undocumented immigrants in the United States. Prosecutors said the men did not disclose their role at the club during the 2011 background checks conducted to discover any outside employment that could create concerns about their proximity to crime or the risk of being blackmailed. The case was unveiled a month after the Obama administration announced that Michelle Leonhardt, the DEA administrator, would step down after being grilled by a congressional panel about sex parties attended by agents in Colombia with prostitutes funded by drug cartels. Although this latest case is separate from those incidents, it marked another embarrassment for the agency. A spokeswoman for the DEA declined comment, citing the ongoing investigation. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.